Welcome to Sports Talk Around the Clock. I'm your host, Danny Drew, and we're here today with Lane Freeborn and Gabe Saketa. This is actually the first episode of the year. Lane and I are returning from last year. You might remember us, and Gabe is a new addition to the Sports Talk team. So let's get started. Arkansas loses to Louisiana Monroe. A huge shocker. Nobody expected them to lose. Lane, what are your opinions?
This was it was just a crazy week in football the first week. But I think this was the craziest thing of all because Arkansas was supposed to be a dark horse to win the SEC and also possibly compete for a national championship. But you obviously have to blame this loss because their starting quarterback went out in midway through the game. They didn't have him. This is still Louisiana Monroe though. That's the surprise here. You're telling me that because you lost one player, you couldn't beat them. Louisiana Monroe's quarterback had a ridiculous game. I don't know, John Browning, I think was his name. This is just a shocker, and it also kind of, I feel like the SEC isn't as tough as everybody makes it out to be. LSU and Alabama, of course, are in a separate league of their own. But then the next teams, it's a toss-up, and that's why I think people overrate SEC a lot. So. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think that Arkansas is expected in that game to overcome some sort of adversity. When your quarterback gets hurt, you're still Arkansas paid Louisiana Monroe a lot of money, I'm sure, to come play them on a big stage game in the first couple weeks of the season since they are a smaller school. I believe they're Division I AA. I'm not sure about that. But and so when they lost, nobody expected that. And so that was something that was a real shocker. And Gabe, what do you think about that?
I agree with that. I still think the SEC is a powerful conference, even with this loss. I think it explains that, Arkansas is suffering without their head coach, Bobby Petrino, with that whole incident.
Why does that make it?
Why are they suffering? Because
why is it suffering?
Petrino?
Why is
well,
that
obviously
blamed
because
on
they
the loss?
lost to.
How? But what did that? I mean.
I don't understand your question, Lane.
Yeah.
What did Bobby Petrino being gone have to be?
Right. That doesn't seem like that was that.
Well,
big a deal.
it's their head coach, so losing your head coach obviously wouldn't
be good for a
football program.
I don't think that was as big of a deal. That was a big it's your head coach, but it's still the players playing the game.
That's true.
And they still have all the same
adverse
coaches.
Situation like overtime, not
but they still have all the same coaches and all the same players. They still have
their head coach
and the quarterback.
Yeah. And I agree. I think the quarterback's a big part of it, but I don't think the head coach is as big a deal. That's my point.
That's not going to agree with anything.
That's my no. That's my point. That's my only point.
Fair enough. Penn State off to an 0-2 start. Now maybe Gabe can blame this one on the loss of a head coach because Joe Paterno there for 40 whatever years, however many years he was there. A lot of his wins vacated from 1990, 1989, so forth, and really just sad to see Penn State not be able to come out and get fired up, play with some motivation. Gabe, what do you think Penn State is going to have to do to pick it up this season?
I think they're just going to have to play their butts off completely. A lot of people are doubting them in any situation they play, and the NCAA pretty much screwed the whole football program over on anything with revoking scholarships and everything. But I heard they still have the number one quarterback from this year's recruit class. So, maybe there's still an up for them later, but it's going to take a long time. Definitely not this season. They're already 0-2, and that their conference is stacked this year. They're doing very well, so I think it's going to be hard for them to compete.
I feel like the NCAA gave them the death penalty without giving them the official death penalty. They basically did the same thing. It's going to take them forever to come back with this. In the first game they came out and they played. They played great. They were up I think 14-0 or 21-0 or 21-7, something like that. But then Ohio had Ohio's got a pretty good team, but it's just sad to see one of the most historic programs in all of college football go down in a matter of 6 months. So I think that's the biggest impact here is 0-2. There's got to be a lot of guys on that team and a lot of commits saying, so maybe this isn't the place I want to be. Maybe this isn't
Silas Redd, for example,
exactly
already transferring.
transferring. So that's where where it's just sad. It's just a sad thing, and it'll take them forever. Turn around this season, they might win 3 or 4 games. I really don't see them winning more than that, especially when they get into conference play. I think that's.
Yeah, and I personally am a fan of the Big Ten, and it stinks because you'd like to see Penn State to be a competitor for at least a Big Ten championship, if not a national championship. And when Joe Pa was there, they were always a contender. But now doubts kind of creeping in more and more so after the losses kind of start. 0-2. It's an early season, or it's early in the season, but just hope that Penn State can kind of pick it up and become a contender. Alabama is off to a dominating start again this season, as always, beating Michigan in their season opener. What do you think about Alabama's contention for another national championship?
I mean, when they lost Trent Richardson and I think some other players, I was like, well, I picked LSU to beat Alabama in the first place in last year's national championship, and then when they lost their real star players, I was like, I mean, they already had questions about quarterback as it was, and now you got A.J. McCarron. Who's A.J. McCarron? So those are the things that I was like, I don't think Alabama's going to do this year. They come out and not only beat Michigan, they dominated, destroyed Michigan, not even a contest in that one. So they look like on track. I mean, the only team that I think that could even have a shot is USC, and even then, that Alabama's defense is incredible. They're in a different league. It's crazy. So I think they're definitely on track to do the same thing.
It doesn't really surprise me at all that Alabama comes out and blows the first 2 teams out of the water. I mean, they're Alabama, and Nick Saban's going to get an Alabama team ready to play every week. That's his thing, and he's going to game plan and prepare every week. And obviously, they brought in a lot of great recruits from last year and the year before that from just winning national championships. So, they're a stacked team, and that's how it's going to be for a long time as I see it. And I think LSU can compete this year, but, if they can get their offense started, unlike last year where it just was nothing and completely demolished. They couldn't keep up with Alabama. But other than that, I think that, they're going to be a real hard team to compete with.
So, national championship picks. At the beginning of the season, you think USC coming back from their suspension or from their, penalties that they got from the whole Reggie Bush thing. And so many teams definitely eligible, definitely in the talk about winning the national championship. Who do you guys think are the major contenders, if not the?
I think USC is going to win a national championship. And I think that, Alabama might be maybe a better talented team, but I think that they're going to get beaten by an LSU or even by an Arkansas. A team's going to come out and play up and upset, because that is a very tough conference to play in. Is the SEC? You can't deny that. So I think that's going to be something that's going to cost them a national championship bid, and so I think it'll give USC the road to win a national championship. I think that's my national championship pick.
Yours, Gabe?
I can see Oregon competing real well in the for a national championship. They have so much speed, and it's the Pac-10, and I think it's not a real strong conference in the first place, but I think they can keep up with everyone else in it, and they can maybe go undefeated or just one loss, to USC, and maybe USC will lose along the line. Maybe it'll be a one-loss national championship, kind of like last year with LSU. So, I can see it going a lot of different ways, but my main pick's Oregon this year with all their speed.
And I would have to go with USC just because coming off of their suspensions and some of the recruiting violations and whatnot, they're going to be fired up. They haven't had a chance to play in the postseason or in the BCS bowl season in the last 4 years. So I'm really excited to see how fired up this team gets and how ready they are to compete for a national championship. And on to the next thing, Heisman picks. Who do you guys think is going to be a vital player and stands out to win the most prestigious collegiate football award, Heisman?
For me, he's kind of a dark horse, but after seeing the first couple games he's played, DeAnthony Thompson, I think, has played a ridiculous first couple games. I mean, he helps in the return game, wide receiver, he'll run the ball. He's a do-it-all kind of guy. and he's, I mean, easily the fastest player in the NCAA right now. He's a freak. He's everywhere on the field. I think he's kind of the guy. He's kind of like a Tyrann Mathieu kind of player, but only better. You know, he's going to get the ball a lot more than he did. So I think he's going to be in it.
I'm going to go ahead and say mine. I think that Geno Smith, going into the season, I would have, being a Michigan fan, I would have loved to see Denard Robinson be able to come out and impress against Alabama. Maybe, you know, Alabama's defense is great, but we would have liked to see him. I think he had, I think he had like very minimal rushing yards, like 7 rushing yards or something like that against Alabama, and that's not expected of a Heisman hopeful. So if you look at Geno Smith, he's got the size, and you know he's got some of the weapons around him at West Virginia to be able to go ahead and get out there and do enough to win that Heisman. You know, kind of like a guy similar to Vince Young, maybe not with the weapons that Vince Young had, but definitely being able to move the ball around with their legs. You know, running the football. Geno Smith is going to be definitely a Heisman hopeful for me. So, what is yours?
Too bad RG3 isn't back for his senior year.
exactly.
Otherwise, I'd pick him because he's already killing it in the NFL.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a crazy athlete. But I'd have to go with USC's Matt Barkley because he's got some crazy weapons to work with. Silas Red now to even hand it off to. That's another weapon in the backfield just to distract from their passing game. And they're going to be a crazy good team to reckon with. And I see him throwing for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. And the Pac-10's not a real strong conference, but I think he can blow away from the pack and really make a run for it.
Next question on Sports Talk, shifting from NCAA football to the National Football League. Jonathan Vilma wins bounty in suspension appeal. I think he's going in to talk to Roger Goodell to see if he can about maybe lessening his punishment. I know Roger Goodell still has the power to punish him, but I think it's definitely going to be less than what he was previously given. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that this is a good thing? Do you think that Jonathan Vilma's, you know, fighting for his cause is kind of finally paid off? Or
I know I've seen lots and lots of players get in trouble, and when they try to appeal, almost always they get denied. The fact that he won it is kind of telling me, well, maybe they rushed to or they made the punishment a little too harsh. You know, because I think out for a whole season is pretty ridiculous too, and we didn't really get a lot of evidence. As fans, I know we didn't get really a lot of evidence why he was so he was the one that, you know, got the worst out of the players, and so I think that this is Roger Goodell saying, well, okay, let me try and be fair, let me hear him out. I believe he's going to talk to Roger Goodell on Monday is a set point, so I think that. And I like this too. I think this is a good thing because I feel like Roger Goodell is very harsh for this punishment. It's almost a little too harsh.
Yeah.
And I'd like to, but I just like to see this thing play out because you still don't know. It could go either way.
Yeah, and you know, such an pivotal player in the game, such as Jonathan Vilma, he's going to want to get back on the field. He's going to want to help his Saints hopefully win another Super Bowl and do great things. So, you know, you'd like to be able to see him get back on the field as soon as possible. Gabe, what do you think about the punishment appeal?
I would agree with you, Lane, that Roger Goodell's punishments were definitely way too stricting of players. In fact, I don't think the players should have been involved and hit as hard with the punishments that they were. And I think he was trying to make an example of bounties. And, you know, that's just going to happen in the NFL. People are going to want to hurt someone. Like I heard Michael Vick, he said, you know, it doesn't surprise him that they were going out for him. You know, people are going to want to take out impact players in a game, and I just think that's kind of part of the game. You know, injuries are a part of the game. To intentionally, you know, break someone's leg, you know, on purpose under a pile is a little ridiculous, but people are going to hit star players harder because, you know, they don't want them going 100% because when they're 100%, they're deadly players. And I think Jonathan Vilma being out is a little ridiculous. You know, Roger Goodell's trying to make a point, and it's a point that doesn't really need to be made, I think.
So week 1 in the NFL this last Sunday, who do you guys think were the top performers for this week?
I definitely think with everything that had surrounded him in the offseason, all the questions, different team. I mean, everything that everybody said. I think there's no better top performer in Week 1 than Peyton Manning. That's the way he came back to not only lead his team to a victory, but to throw for as many yards as he did, and to lead his team down in the stretch in the fourth. I mean, it was a close game all the way down, and to be able to pull out and win, as everybody said,
gives his team hope.
Right? It's like
they see it. Everyone talks about it, but now they see it. They saw him play for them.
Well, I don't think he's gonna be good because he hurt his neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look at him now.
He proved them all wrong,
right.
and they did it. They saw themselves. So.
I personally, I think it's funny thinking about Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck comes out and he's anticipated to be, huge, great impact player for the Colts, and he ends up throwing 3 picks and fumbling the ball. It just kind of goes to show maybe a little bit of karma, because everybody said, oh, Peyton's too old, he's washed up, he's got a hurt neck. Everything was said about him negatively, and everything was said that Andrew Luck was just this star child, awesome football player that's going to have the utmost success in the NFL. You really see Peyton Manning, the veteran come out in him and be able to perform like that. But, my top performer from Week 1 was definitely RG3. I think, for the nerves, coming out as a rookie quarterback with these expectations, starting your first game, he threw incredibly well. He made great decisions, and he really kept composure throughout the whole game. So RG3 is my pick.
I didn't watch a whole lot of NFL this week, but I also heard that RG3 played lights out, and I'd agree with that. Andrew Luck had a little hesitant this week, but I think he'll get back on it next week, and we'll see what he can do. And RG3 came out and played, and he showed his different talents on the football field. So I like him this week, and I like him for the rest of the year. So I think the quarterback position is changing. Speed is all right to have in the NFL, and it's a different thing when you can throw it and run it. It's more to cover. So I see guys like RG3 and Cam Newton really having breakout seasons.
Totally. I think next we have to pick some MVPs, because now talking about some of these quarterbacks that are coming out, Peyton Manning playing really well, Matt Ryan for the Falcons, he played incredibly well against the Chiefs, and am I right, Matt Ryan? Yeah. Did I mess that up?
Oh, no,
okay,
no, yeah.
Him and Tony Gonzalez. I know Roddy White. Roddy White, who was a huge target for him, really didn't even see the ball that much. So he had to be a distributor and play really well. So who do you guys think are going to be some of the MVPs, or potential MVPs for the season in the NFL?
I think kind of a sleeper pick is Ray Rice. I think everybody knows he's a good back, but I think this is his MVP year. I think he's going to get a lot of carries, and I also think he's going to make a lot of plays. That offense looks way better. When Joe Flacco actually has people to throw to, Anquan Bolden, Torrey Smith, those they're 2 tight ends. They have a 2 tight end type thing like the Patriots. Not as good, but same type of deal. And I think it's going to give him a lot of pressures relieved off of him, because it's not like he's going to get the ball 30 times a game, but he's going to get carries that count, and I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards. So and he's also going to make plays out of the backfield, which is, I think, it's really going to win him that MVP race. So Ray Rice is definitely mine.
Definitely. What are you thinking?
I'd have to go with an easy pick, Aaron Rodgers, just because he's Aaron Rodgers, and he's a stud as it is, and I don't see him changing anything differently, and I see him succeeding this season just as a team, and he's got a great arm. Great decision maker, and I see him doing great things this season.
Part of me kind of wants to come out and choose RG3 just because of the way he made decisions in Week 1. But saying, he is a rookie quarterback, and, he's going to have off weeks, coming up. And you think about a guy like Peyton Manning, who really, he's done it for so long. If you watch the film from last Sunday's game, he, on I think 2 of the plays that he had touchdowns on, he actually called the audible. So he sees it. He has the vision. He knows. It's almost like he's the offensive coordinator, which it's awesome to be able to have an amazing first-class quarterback and an offensive coordinator on the field at the same time. So I think that Peyton Manning definitely has the ability to win an MVP, and I think that'd be a great story. Coming back from his injury and from his move from Indianapolis to Denver, it'd be great to see success come out of that transition. So now one more pick situation, Super Bowl. You know, a lot of teams definitely, you know, in the talk. What do you guys think as far as Super Bowl picks?
I think the, emergence last year of the 49ers, and the run that they made, it proved that they had just a few things to fix. I think they got those fixed because they looked great against the Packers week 1. And I'm sure that was a lot of people's Super Bowl pick was the Packers. But, man, the 49ers look very unbeatable. But Alex Smith played great, too. I mean, he's not really that Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback. He's more of a game manager. He picks,
he makes plays when
right,
when they
right,
need him.
pro
He
style.
gets the ball to their weapons.
Exactly, which they have.
Davis
Michael
and-
Crabtree looks great. They got Randy Moss, Vernon Davis, of course, and of course that defense it just lights out. Patrick Willis and all those guys, Alden Smith. So I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Right on. As far as my Super Bowl pick goes, I'm kind of just basing this off of Week 1 performances. Coming in throughout the offseason, every single team in the National Football League, they have money and they can go out and they can pick the best players that they believe will have the chance to win them a Super Bowl. So I think that knowing it doesn't always have to be the Green Bay Packers. It doesn't always have to be a team that has Aaron Rodgers, those guaranteed MVP guys. I think the Atlanta Falcons, they definitely could do something that's definitely more impressive than they have in the past, because with Tony Gonzalez, he's a seasoned veteran, and yet he has been there, but he wants to win a Super Bowl. I know he has to for as long as he's been in the league, and I know he left Kansas City searching for that. So I think Matt Ryan's hungry, and they have their defense is going to be given the opportunity to step up, and I'm excited to see what the Falcons can do. So. What is yours?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and just say the Ravens. I saw them play the other night, and
It's a good pick.
their defense is looking good as usual. And
Even without Terrell Suggs, that's pretty scary.
yeah, exactly. And I think Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, they're getting older. They're getting to that point where it's getting close to thinking about retirement. I think they really want it
More hungry
for another Super Bowl and I see people keying on Ray Rice, and I think Flacco is going to find more targets that way. And I just see their offense opening up, and their defense really coming alive. And they're my pick for this year. So.
Next topic, we're going to take it on to some high school football action. The Joplin Eagles coming out against the Hillcrest Hornets, Week 3. Hillcrest coming into the game 2-0. Joplin 1-1. Exciting game. Joplin very pumped up because of a loss last year to Hillcrest in front of about 10,000 people in our home opener. And unfortunately, coming off of a loss at Parkview last week, the momentum, we just couldn't keep it together. Gabe Saketa is the starting quarterback. I'm the starting left guard, and Lane is the middle linebacker. So a disappointing one, but we have some highlights from that game, and Lane's going to show you guys.
Basically, what you got here is we started off in a 21-0 hole. You'll see that this is the first touchdown from Hillcrest. It's basically like a counter read, and he pulls it, and it's a speed option. Once he gets hit, he's going to pitch it out to Juwan Johnson. He's just going to take it out, outrun everybody. They had a lot of speed, a lot of athletes.
They're great athletes, yeah.
This was their first touchdown. It was up 7-0. They ended up going up about 21-0 on us. And here, though, we came out on the sideline. We said, we got to buckle down if we're going to even the defense. If we're even going to have a chance in this game, we got to buckle down. And we did that. This is about midway through the second quarter. We're about 25-yard line. Offense is set up. This is our very own Gabe Saketa. He throws it about a 35-yard touchdown pass to
just running for my life on that one.
Yeah, Gavin Jones. And that really set up the momentum. We realized that we could do it. We were ready for it. So the next highlight we have here, they're punting from about the 10-yard line, and it's about 21-7 at this point. We know we need a big play. And they had to, it was a rainy game, and I think that's what happened here on this highlight. I think he just kind of muffed it, and then it landed on the ground. Great play by Cody and Adam and Noiseworthy. We got the ball in the 1, and it was awesome.
Special teams making
we were jacking. It set up this 1-yard touchdown, little hop here by Gabe Saketa. This is awesome. So after this play, it was 21-14 going in half, and we were driving on them. We'll pick up the action this was about fourth quarter, right? Pretty late in the game. It was 27-14 at this point.
And we had actually drove the field in about 1 minute and 30 seconds. You know, it wasn't real late in the fourth, but I mean, it gave us hope. You know, if we drive it that fast,
right?
You know, why can't we do it again? Right. And we did score on this play, but you know, we left a lot of guys on bases this week.
That's a good way to put it.
You know,
I mean, again, you know, it's just a 1 yard little scamper. You know, beat him to the corner. So it's 27-21 at this point. I mean, we're feeling really good. A lot of time left on the clock, and our defense has been making plays. And so this is just the very next possession, and this was big. We had just got off these 2 terrible referee calls, you know, and it's about 3rd and 14 or something like that. You know, giving them new life and stuff. And you know, this is just a bad pass. Great play by David Hoosier. It gives us the ball back in the fourth quarter, but you know, sadly enough, we couldn't punch the ball and we couldn't get it done, and we ended up losing 27-21 or 33-21. They ended up adding a touchdown. So, you know, great fought game though. And, you know, that's it for that.
Disappointing.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those. You come out, you give it your all, just like you do every week, and you fall short. We're right there. We're on the edge. We have the ability to win those close games, and you know, in the future, this weekend, or this Friday night, we go up to Rolla. Might be a nasty mud bowl. Nobody knows. We just have to be ready, prepared to play and win a game, just as we try to be every single week. So with that awesome highlight reel, that concludes our Sports Talk Around the Clock, Episode 1. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.